name's Alison Reid. I'm the CEO of the IBS Network, which is the national charity supporting people living with irritable bowel syndrome. The charity's been around for about 30 years, and it was started by two former patients of our former chair, who was a professor of gastroenterology and human nutrition at the University of Sheffield. A helpline which is open 3 nights a week, and that's staffed by IBS trained nurses. So often with IBS, people feel very isolated and alone, and this is an opportunity for them to talk in a safe place about their IBS. They feel embarrassed often about discussing anything to do with toilets and things. We British tend to not want to talk about it very easily. So by discussing it with people who understand what they're going through, then it really helps them to work out what's best for them. People have they've probably had a bit more time at home. They've worried about it. They're worrying about the environment. They're worrying about COVID, obviously, and that has increased the symptoms and their flare-ups. And so they have contacted us to become members. And I think also in normal times, people have resisted looking at stress and the part that stress plays in IBS. And I think now that it's very clear that it has had an impact, and people are looking at ways that they can manage their stress and anxiety better. The first thing that we say to people, even if they've had IBS for 20 years, is to go back to basics. Keep a food and mood diary, and in that, then you can write down everything you're eating, the quantities you're eating, when you're eating it, in what circumstances, but also write down how you're feeling, what's going on in your life. Now, I know these are odd times, but you can write down what's going on in your life. And often, just with a bit of distance, if you look back of what you've written over maybe several weeks, you might think, actually, that was a good week. And then you think, right, what was I doing differently there? What was I doing right there that I wasn't doing before? Or conversely, that was a terrible week. What was I doing? What was going on in my life? And you might start to understand and recognize patterns that we all do, with a bit of distance and that bit of objectivity. Don't be afraid. You can contact the IBS Network. We have heard it all. Don't feel embarrassed or awkward, because we're here to help, and we're happy to send information to employers, to managers, if they've got somebody in their team who is suffering and working with IBS, and we can tell you how to best support them at work. So don't suffer alone, and if you know someone with IBS, find out about it and help support them.